Hello, trading is closed on January 25th, 2019. Let's go over our calls. First call said the commonest thing to be the gap outside Thursday's range, and that happened. We had some targets. This one printed immediately, and as per the rule, gapping smartly up, put these out of reach. Didn't mean they wouldn't print, just means we're no longer predicting that they will. We've had a cluster of failed targets on this rally. Let's remember there are two times that these numbers fail to print in their preferred time frame, even though 99++% of the time they'll print eventually. One is during periods of strong unidirectional moves, and the other is near possible changes in trend. And that's why I think this one might not print. Now we also look for the pattern with the early high. We got that. Monday's pattern has the early high too. Doesn't mean you won't gap down first. Now typically this pattern closes near the day's high, and when it does not, it's negative. So this is a negative pattern. It's also negative that we gapped up, hit a series of higher highs, couldn't hold on to any of them. So unless we gap and promptly take out this high, lower prices should print. And counterbalancing that, we have a higher target, which is a positive. So most common thing is we gap outside the range. Now typically when you don't close near the high and this thing drops, typically drops in a straight line. That didn't happen, but let's not forget that Monday's open is a surrogate for Friday's close. So if we gap down sharply in a straight line, the typical pattern will play out. During the day, we said ultimately lower price it would print. We got the minimum. Almost always you get more. Here's a buy signal, hasn't been satisfied, and there's your target. Now we've been trying to identify the end of this wave, which is either B or A. I think more likely A of B. And by the time this whole thing's over, I think there's a good chance we'll be in the 1800s, which is tough to talk about when you just rallied over 300 handles. So what's the chance this is the end of the leg up? Remember, we have candidates all the way up into the 2800s. This was, we felt, a very good candidate for reasons we'll show once again in just a minute. So what makes this high so special? Well, here's our target. We take the high, multiply it by 0.618. Another way to get the target is to take the first leg down, add it to this high, and you get the same target. And the third way is to take a Fibonacci target of this leg up, which all come to the same number if this is where it ends. It was very impressive when we recovered the prior lows. It's not so impressive that we couldn't recover any prior highs, and it's really unimpressive that when you take this high, ignoring the 2B high, and take a 61.8% retracement from this high to this low, you get right at today's high. So it's stalling right at resistance. Now this was our count. We'll go over again why we think this is purple A of B, and we'll go over what's happened since we've hit this. Well, here's the idea. Here's the end of A, and there's your A, B, C with nice fib relationships. Now, since that high, you could certainly count an A, B, and if that's where B ends, C is coming up. Now, the argument is B retraces 8866. That's the the fourth root of 0.618 of A, you can count blue ABC with nice fib ratios. And if you look in the last wave, you have an ABC with nice fib ratios. And if you measure from here to the gap and from the gap to the high, you'll see it's right at the 50% level. So you certainly have good Fibonacci resistance right over here. We have a number of candidates for the end of the leg. This is a very good one, not the only one. And if it is, we'll gap down smartly Monday, ideally, and start the next wave down, which could take us well into the 2500s or lower. But until we get that, there's always a chance the whole idea falls apart by gapping and promptly taking out this high. So we have strong resistance, and if we overcome it, we have targets up in the 2800s. But this looked like a pretty good wave count to me, pretty strong resistance to me, lots of lower targets. I like to see a failed target right at the high. I think this is a very good candidate for gapping down smartly and starting a tank over the next couple of weeks. But we won't know for sure until Monday's open, and that's today's call.